Welcome to another episode of Next in Tech with London Drugs. My name is Kyle. I have worked in the London Drugs Tech Department for over 26 years.
I'm Ricky, and I'm pushing 20 years. So, time flies.
Today, we are really excited to talk about laptops and how they incorporate AI.
They've come a long way, right? And that's kind of that first piece you think of towards AI. It's just a complete shift in what customers are capable of doing with their computer.
What are some real world functions that these new laptops can help us with? I'm thinking of, the student who's absolutely slammed, the content creator who just wants to get away from editing every evening, or the busy professional who, doesn't need to be looking at their calendar all the time. Like, what are some real world ways these new laptops can help us?
Very much everybody you just said has some sort of interaction that this AI laptop can potentially help with. So jumping to that last one first, like that busy schedule, where's my calendar at? The computer, and I'm going to segue a little bit, the smart home itself and how that can all interact is calendar reminders, here's your appointments for the day, and just help schedule through everything. I know as somebody who's very unorganized, it's very helpful for me that my schedule and calendar can be all built together. That student with a bunch of, documents, books, whatever else they need to read through, maybe a summarization tool, something along those lines of please summarize this into the most important parts. I think you mentioned another, like a digital editing kind of professional, something along those lines. And again, going in, maybe editing a background, adjusting skin tone, especially for various forms of lighting when you're doing adjustments and things like that. Yeah, these tools are quite helpful.
So you're telling me that I can put an entire document in there and say, summarize this, and it'll give me the highlights.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super cool. And I can see that saving a lot of time.
With AI, I always laugh. They're saying a picture's worth 1,000 words. When you give AI instructions, the better the instruction you can give it, the better it's good of a job it's going to do for something along those lines. So let's say you're summarizing those 50 pages and you're like, yeah, but I really want to focus on this part of the summarization, right? This is the main topic of, let's say I'm doing a psychology class and I really need the, the aspect of maybe somebody's thoughts or something. I want it to summarize with that in mind. Just different prompts like that can really make AI go many different ways for you.
That's outstanding. So, all right. So we've got all this power condensed into this laptop, which is great, but we traditionally know what that means. Less battery. So how does that work for students or busy professionals that they need to be on the go for the entire day and they may not be able to plug in?
Luckily, we've seen a lot of advancements in battery, whether it's, the computer itself, we're seeing cars, we're seeing all kinds of areas where batteries are just moving the world forward. And computers are doing a great job at it. Some computers will be up to, 18, 19 hours off a battery, being able to do a lot of processing. Now, if I'm that video editing professional again, that 19 hours is probably much less because I'm using a much more task-oriented usage of the computer. But a student, yeah, you could probably, do an entire day without having to worry about it.
Wow, that's great. All the powers of AI and it'll last all day. That sounds great. All right, so one of the biggest questions that we get with regards to switching over to a new computer or new device, as we know, is it's not just the device. Those days are gone. It's what's in the device, my personal information, my life, and how I want it set up is in my laptop. So even the thought of buying a new one and trying to migrate all that over, what are our options?
Have you heard of trained professionals? I believe every one of my London Drugs at this point has a technician that is going to be certified to be able to go in and do some sort of data service transfer for you. Obviously, there's costs to anything, but I always look back at it as, do I want to spend my entire weekend moving my own computer over, or do I want to, hand it off to a professional, have them do the full migration of everything, and I can just come in and pick up my device?
Excellent. So I come in, I pick it up, and my new one is as close to my old one as
SpongeBob SquarePants as your background picture. Absolutely, still SpongeBob SquarePants. They just copy it all over.
Okay, that's great. So, so we've made everything easy. I got AI. I'm ready to rock. What are the accessories that I need to be looking at?
Let's touch on these new computers again for a quick sec. We've kind of started the major migration for cables, and people will see that with their phones and things. USB-A is slowly being replaced by USB-C. And a lot of these new computers are powered by USB-C. The USB-C port is also all of their external plugins nowadays. So you might see one USB-A and a few USB-Cs. So an adapter that's going to allow you to plug in all of your old peripheral devices. Maybe you still have a printer you plug in with. Maybe it's an external hard drive, something like that. If you only have one port for the old A port, you really probably need some sort of hub or something else to be able to plug those other devices into. And that's the most common accessory somebody buys when they're buying the computer. Bags, that kind of thing. But the one thing that if they get home and they're like, drat, I can only plug in one of my 3 things. That's the real deal breaker for you.
Well, all that sounds fantastic, Ricky. Give us some examples. What would we be looking at if we walked into a London drugstore right now?
A little bit depending maybe on your process, like which system you're using. Like you have your Macs, you have your PCs, you have Chromebooks. Personally, if I'm a PC user most of the time, Asus makes a ProArt 16-inch with a beautiful display screen on it and a lot of that kind of in-house kind of processing power on that computer. MacBook Pro has always been a go-to. A lot of AI creators, a lot of content creators have always been, they walk in the door, I need the most powerful MacBook you can give me, and away they go to create their content. I think that's always been Apple's kind of, shtick, if you will. So probably one of those 2.
To summarize, now's the time. I mean, AI is built into these laptops. It's not a matter of my laptop still works and I can use it. It's what am I missing out on? There's so much I should be using my laptop for that I'm probably not, and that's why I should upgrade. Does that
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone. Be sure to tune in for our next episode and never miss out on what's next in tech.